Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be working on the Chevy truck again, the 50s one. You would have seen the diff all finished up, weld inside. It's got a big Watts link pin on the back of it now, so we're going to be setting up the Watts link in this video. Show you how I go about it. There's probably a different way to do it, but this is just how I do it, and it seems to work pretty well on things. On the bench here, I've already got the Watts link pivot plates all sort of cleaned up, ready to weld. I linished the edges on all of my laser cutting, all the ones that I'm fabricating anyway. And then I always just sort of break the edge a little bit, so it's not a full sharp edge, and it always looks pretty trick. My machine parts, my machinist does an awesome job for me and I love them forever. Stella Engineering. If you're not giving them a follow, it's definitely worth it. I will leave something in the descriptions so you can click their stuff. Amazing work every time, never ever have a problem. So that's sitting there, then this is going to go over the top like that, and then I'll put a spacer on there for my heims. If you go ahead and weld that, and then we're going to go back over to there. So since I got a bit of time to kill waiting for that Watts link pivot to cool down from welding, I thought I'd jump up here and figure out my bar lengths that I need to know. So this is how I figured it out. So first of all, chassis width 770, 30 mil off the chassis width is going to be my mounting point for the Watts link bars. The center to center on the Watts link pivot are equal on the spread of the Watts link bars, so they're all even level, all the stuff. Figured out my travel, and then halved it, and that gave me my center point, which set everything up parallel. Now this is how I've started it. I normally use a calculator, but I can't find it on the Intersnizzle. So this is the way I've done it. Idea of Watts link is to keep your diff center. If we cycle this up, you can see when it gets to the extremes, only minuscule, but still that's what it's starting to head on doing. It's going to try to pull your diff over. It's only going to be bush flex probably in this, but using this as a good example of why you need to clock your Watts link pivot at an angle. This is why. So you can see what it's doing there. It stays on center really well, and just until it gets those little extremes, then it just kicks over. So I've just done a little bit of trial and error. I wish that I had a mathematical equation for you, but I don't. So all I did was max it out to where we got here, and then all I did was keep adding to these bars. So that bar is 355 at the moment, and I just kept adding it, and that's pivoting the pivot back over and back over in those directions. So it's pushing the pivot over that way, and it's then pushing the pivot over that way, therefore pushing this center closer to the actual proper center line of your of the axles, you know, like where it's mounted on the diff. So that's all I did. I just trial and error, just like okay, I'm gonna add a bit, I'm gonna add a bit, I'm gonna add a bit until I got it on the center, and then that gave me my bar length. Mounting points stay the same, everything. So if we go to this one, which I've just put something I don't want to look at, click that down. So we're on center line, and we cruise. This is the wrong file. Let's completely close that, shall we? This is better. So now you can see the Watts link pivot is clocked on an angle. It is sitting on center, quite nice. Travels through center, absolutely center. So that is why you need to clock your Watts link pivot. Straight through, no problems. So I ended up, so the new length is 375.50. Sorry for all the American people that, or anyone that does imperial measurements. I live in metric land, it's just easier to punch it all in. So that is how I figured out, without any calculators or anything, your what's link pivot, your what's link bar lengths. So you can do this with cardboard at home, same type of thing, just add, probably do like a telescopic style or something, just to help you get that measurement. But that's how I went around. So hopefully I'll go downstairs now and get cutting on some tube, figure out my tube length from the heim joints and the weld bungs and stuff. Cut tube, weld tube, etc, etc, etc. Alright, back downstairs. So I know my bar length 375.50. Now I got, these are the heim joints I'm using. They are a 5/8 heim joint with a 3/4 thread, and I got some misalignment spacers that go in it, which is pretty nice. I use a right hand and a left hand thread. You see the left hand's got the hex on it, so they are a little bit different in size, and I'm very superstitious with my numbers as well. So I've got 13 mil out from the jam nut to the flat of the heim joint, which I seem to do all the time. I'll use 13, 7, 21, 33 and 52 are all the numbers that I kind of like to rock and roll with. Anyway, so we need to measure, figure out how much I'm going to take out of it. So it's simple as from where that's going to go to the center. It's about 85 mil on the right hand, and on the left hand it's going to be just over 90. So I'm going to take 90 off. 90 off each end, which is going to be 180, and that's 375.50 minus 180 equals 195.50, and that's the tube I need to cut. That will go in between that. The reason I didn't do the exact to the exact is because after I weld these up, and then when I set them, I actually wind all the threads all the way in, and then I'll twist the bar out to that 375.50 measurement, and then that'll be all done. So that's why it doesn't matter too much, because there's heaps of adjustment in these. That's that. That's that stage of the thinking. Now I'm just going to go cut and weld. Alright, so that's the what's link pivot all welded up, got a bush in it, slid over the pin, beautiful, holds solid. Tube for the what's links I made to the length that I determined off the computer. It is 0, exactly how I set it up. The eye is 30 mil off the side of the frame, which is how it's set up, and that is good to go. I've got these little mock-up heims that I made a long time ago. They're just a 3/4 inch bolt, just tacked to some machine parts, which is the exact width as my misalignment spacers on a heim. And beauty of these is I can set everything up like locked in at 0, 0 everywhere, and nothing's floating around weird and like not level. So now I can go ahead and make a template for this to go to the frame. Now, it's originally said on this truck I didn't want anything mounted off the frame directly with plate work. That's why these full-length mounts are floating on tube. But aesthetically, I think this is what I'm going to have to do, because if I was trying to land a tube there to tack that up, then I'm going to have to land a tube up on this high side, and it's going to look real weird. I can't quite picture how it would work. So I think I'm just going to keep like a nice simple route and just bite the bullet and just put a tab on it. They're not going to be big tabs, which is good, because it is pretty close to the frame. So I think that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to make the templates and see what they look like and see if I'm feeling them or not, and then we'll go from there. It's been a minute since I picked up the camera, so this is what I got. I made a compromise and I did do plate to the chassis, but I added a tube aspect to it as well, because the future plan is to land a tube to that tube off that tube, so like on an angle, so like where that little type of thing is, and that way I can do it on the other side when I do it, because that is just going to be flipped and put on that top side, so I'll be able to run the tube still to the same center as that, so it's not going to look so unsymmetrical, if that makes sense, because obviously low, high, and that's how I'm going to do it. I fought through it a little bit, but I like them now. Looking at them, I think they're going to work well. Once that extra bit of tubes on there, it'll make a lot more sense. Over here is laser cutting. Obviously I just made them big just because I was really freehanding this and I just wanted to get something real quick. So I quickly drew these up, and then I'm just going to trim the shapes and everything in it, which I copied off those ones, and then the tube sits in like that, and then I just cut that at a 45 and then notch that in its place. I'm going to do something a little bit different this year. I've actually got to fill in this little bit, so I might get it re-laser cut. I don't know, we'll see how the weekend gets me, and then cap it to the corner. We'll see. But at the moment, that's the bracket. Here is the high side, what's linking out. So you can see here, I've done most of the fabrication now. Now it's just a case of laying those final welds in, and then I can get it tacked on. So you can see what I've done here. Tube slides into that, locks onto that at the height. I've capped the end, so that's the bottom side. And also, if you look at the top side as well, it's capped. And it's capped flush. Get out of my way, hand. Get out! Capped on the top side as well. One thing you got to really think about on a lot of these bracket stuff is, where is the water going to go? If I would have left that little part exposed, then it would have sat in this whole inner structure, connected to the chassis, and that is not what you want. Additionally, I ended up not speak. On the other side, let's just go here and I'll tell you. You can see there that I've left it exposed welds, and due to my annoyance of being me, I decided to sand it smooth and make it look nice. So I have to do that to that side, which is fine because I'm going to take that side off anyway, because what this one has that the other one doesn't is got these little ding-dongs that slide over the chassis, and they slide on the underneath of the chassis. Just give it a bit more strength, a bit more happiness. Go me for speaking today, wow. So yeah, that is happy. I'm going to put this calmly on the table like that, calmly. Then I'm going to run these beads because that's the last bit. Like I said before, I'd like to finish all the fabrication first and then pick my final welds that are not going to be touched, and then I'll just weld it and then I don't have to touch it anymore. And that is all good and happy. Just before I zip away to get onto the next bit of it, these tabs, like for the Heim misalignment spacer, they will suck in. So this is the most agricultural tool in the world, but it works. Bit of all thread, and then just another on either side, and I just put it on there and I just open it up and then it's normally pretty good. Normally helps me with that little issue. So I don't know if you guys have problems with that, but that's a nice simple solution without resulting to a vise and a hammer. So just slide into there, wind it open, and it's pretty good. I do that for most of my brackets because they move. That's just heat. That's what happens. I'm gonna go weld it. All right, we're all done. Bars are all welded up. Left and right hand thread. Left for the hex, right for no. Plug welds or rosette welds, whatever you call them, on both arms, which is nice. Go underneath here. That bracket's all welded up. Tack to the chassis. Full length goes across the whole rail there. Full length goes behind underneath the whole rail there. Heim joints are 5/8 3/4 with a misalignment spacer, so they're 1/2 inch bolts. Go back under here. Upper side is all smoothed off. Go back underneath here again. I've added some extra to the plates so they get welded across the whole rails. And that, ideally, is the WhatsLink setup. Still going to land some tube to those brackets. That's why they are tube. And then they'll look pretty nice, I think. That's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next one.